This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Fiji Prime Minister visits University of Papua New Guinea. PNG extends invite for Fiji University's partnership. And U.S. Secretary to visit PNG on Monday. A very good evening. You're watching National EMTV News. I'm Grace Papiali. Thank you for joining us. The Prime Minister for Fiji, Sitiveni Rabuka, visited the University of Papua New Guinea yesterday and challenged the students to have dreams without boundaries. Fiji's Prime Minister's visit to the university is a first of its kind since the establishment of UPNG in 1965.
The Fijian Prime Minister, Sitiveni Rabuka, arrived at the University of Papua New Guinea with his delegates and was received by the Minister for Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Don Pollier, UPNG's Chancellor Robert Igara, and the student body. When addressing the students, Prime Minister Rabuka said he is privileged to visit the university. PM Rabuka then told the students to dream big without boundaries.
You're continuing with your education, but more so, you're continuing with your dream. Do not lose your dream. Dream your dreams without the boundaries.
Prime Minister Rabuka told the students that they are fortunate to serve the country as intellectuals and also from learning from past leaders.
You will serve your people better. You will be educated more than us because you not only have learned from your universities, you've also learned from us. So go out there and do better than us.
In terms of student exchange programs between the two countries, PM Rabuka said the Fiji National University is offering scholarships to PNG students. Servicemen and women of PNG can also attend trainings in Fiji.
Scholarships at the Fiji National University in the area of hospitality and tourism to students from Papua New Guinea. Without a brief, I also open the opportunity for your servicemen and women to undergo training at a new training establishment set up near the airport in Nadi called Black Rock Peacekeeping and Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Center.
Prime Minister Rabuka elaborated that Fiji always looked up to PNG and its leaders on how they lead the nation. He challenged the students to dream big and serve the nation of Papua New Guinea diligently. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, the Chancellor for the University of Papua New Guinea, Robert Igara, has called on to Fiji to have its universities partnering with universities in PNG for greater benefits of the Pacific region.
Chancellor Igara made this request to PM Rabuka upon his visit to the university yesterday.
And so, Prime Minister, the time has come. By your decision to visit us today and your presence, Honourable Prime Minister, brings out an opportunity for our university and our other universities in Papua New Guinea to establish strategic partnerships with the Fiji National University, the University of Fiji, and the University of the South Pacific. The breadth of this partnership we seek.
Chancellor Igara highlighted that Pacific Island nations are often faced with global challenges. Therefore, it is vital for the Pacific nations to come together and learn from each other for the region's benefit.
And so the opportunities and challenges before our sons and daughters requires a fundamental rethinking and substantial reform in the way we think, in our learning, and in how we manage our institutions. Honourable Prime Minister, these scenarios of opportunities and challenges require that we seek out and work together with other universities.
Mr. Igara was backed by the Minister for Dehast and Sports, Don Pollier, who stressed on the importance of quality education.
Let me also mention that we're looking at research and knowledge development as a key focus of Papua New Guinea too. Research and development of knowledge is very important, Prime Minister, because without research there will be no development of ideas.
Minister Pollier stated that he believes in working together with other Pacific Island nations to bring the region forward. He said if PNG and Fiji can work together, other Pacific Island nations will also follow.
Mr. Prime Minister, let me at this time to say that we would like to see our universities in your country and in Papua New Guinea, we can have that partnership so we can forge ahead in this global environment, in these commonalities. I believe quality is a common issue here in Fiji, so is research and knowledge development, and also digitalizing the higher education sector. The education sector is a focus, and we can share our ideas. And I believe that into the future, with the discussion you've had with the Prime Minister, we can have an agreement, a bilateral agreement.
Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Fijian Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka took some time out with his delegation this morning to visit the Innovative Agro Industries Limited in Port Moresby. Prime Minister Rabuka said the tour was an eye-opener for him as his country has not taken advantage of innovative agriculture.
It's been 3 days since his arrival in Port Moresby, and it has been a busy couple of days for the Prime Minister of the Republic of Fiji. From the first night's opening dinner hosted by his counterpart and PNG Prime Minister James Marape to the bilateral meet where positive outcomes were decided on the way forward for the two countries. With only a couple of days before FIPIC begins on Monday, May 22nd, the Fijian Prime Minister today took some time out to visit some local sites. In his sightseeing this morning, the first stop was the Innovative Agro Industries dairy farm and factory based out at 14 Mile. The Fijian Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka was taken for a guided tour by IAI Limited's chairman and executive director Ilan Weiss. From visiting the barns and then the factory and seeing the end products, each step of the process was explained by the IAI chairman Mr. Weiss as the delegation tasted the products.
With the tour, we'll get some ice cream out as well. We have a big, first of all, you run steam at high temperature through all the pipings. And then you clean dairy is a very sensitive product.
From the factory at 14 Mile, the entourage with full police escorts headed to 9 Mile Farm to see how the vegetables were grown. At the end of his tour, Fijian Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka said it was an eye-opener for him visiting IAI Limited, and his country has not taken advantage of innovative agriculture.
It is so sad that we have not seen this possibility, opportunity in Fiji over the last 50 years or so. We have slogged on with the same old methods that have not produced what we wanted to produce and not be able to satisfy our national needs.
IAI Limited Chairman Mr. Weiss thanked those responsible for organising the visit of the Prime Minister of Fiji.
The Innovative Agro Industry was honoured and happy to host the Honourable Fijian Prime Minister for a visit. It was a chance for us to showcase what we were doing in PNG. The delegation was, I think, quite impressed with what they saw. They saw the great advancement, the upskilling, the training, the technology, all which is here in country and producing.
According to Mr. Weiss, in the years before COVID-19, a market in Fiji was established, but the market was terminated following the closure of flights, and it is hoped that with the visit and the re-establishment of flights to Nadi, the service can be re-established. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
The Secretary of State for the United States of America, Anthony J. Blinken, is expected to travel to Papua New Guinea on Monday, May 22nd. Secretary Blinken will be meeting with leaders of the Pacific Islands here in Port Moresby for the FIPIC Summit.
The confirmation of Secretary Blinken's travel to Papua New Guinea was made known in a media statement released this afternoon by the U.S. Embassy. According to the statement, Secretary Blinken will be meeting with Prime Minister James Marape to sign a bilateral defense cooperation agreement and a bilateral maritime security agreement. These bilateral meets will be followed by a joint press conference with Secretary Blinken, Prime Minister Marape, and FIPIC Chairman Mark Brown. A total of 14 Pacific Island countries will be participating in the FIPIC on Monday, May 22nd. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
In less than 48 hours, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be arriving in Papua New Guinea. Pacific Island leaders are also expected to arrive in country over the weekend. All these leaders will be in Port Moresby for the Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation Summit.
The city of Port Moresby will be buzzing with welcome ceremonies this weekend as leaders of 14 Pacific Island countries arrive for the Forum for India-Pacific Islands Cooperation, or FIPIC Summit. Papua New Guinea will play host to this third FIPIC Summit on Monday, May 22nd, 2023. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister James Marape, including Fiji's Sitiveni Rabuka and New Zealand Prime Minister Chris Hipkins, and all other Pacific Island leaders during the course of the summit. The FIPIC Summit is an initiative of the Indian government to bring together all countries in the Indo-Pacific region and to better understand their needs in order to find a lasting solution, as alluded to by Indian High Commissioner to PNG, Imbaseka Sundaramunti, yesterday.
We want to go into more areas to invest. That's the FIPIC Summit is all about bringing, to put Pacific on the map on both sides. You see, both sides, both Indians and the Pacific leaders need to be educated about each other's importance. We know each other in somewhat way, but we need to go. Shall I say, in India, people know about Fiji to some extent, but many leaders, they don't know. It's just a whatever. So this is the idea, to each one to know about each other, to familiarize with each other, to bring out the best of each other.
Fiji Prime Minister was the first to arrive in country yesterday, with more leaders expected to arrive in the coming hours. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and New Zealand's Chris Hipkins are both expected to arrive tomorrow evening. The FIPIC will be held at the APEC House on Monday, in which a public holiday for NCD only was announced earlier this week. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Department of Immigration and Citizenship Authority is considering ways to ease movement of people between Australia and Papua New Guinea, especially in issuing different visas. This was made known by PNG's Chief Migration Officer, Stanis Hulahau, during his presentation at the 37th Australia-Papua New Guinea Business Forum in Port Moresby.
Papua New Guinea, through the Department of Immigration and Citizenship Authority, is committed to increase business and visitor visa opportunities with Australia. Hula House said this is to encourage and increase business and employment opportunities in the country.
One of the products that we've looked at is the work and holiday visa, which is a visa product that it's at this stage an initiative, and it has been driven bilaterally and is now well advanced.
Hula House added that after the ministerial forum in Canberra earlier this year, certain agreements were signed, including processing 75% visitor visa application for Australian visitors in PNG within 14 days.
So I am pleased to report that as of 1st May 2023, the average visitor visa processing time frame is less than 10 days, which is a good result. However, we have continued to refine our work practices and monitor this matrix to ensure that this result is sustained.
More so, establishing a long-term multiple business entry visa.
One aspect of the commitment made by PNG to Australia during the 29th Ministerial Forum, specifically to announce the reactivation of the business multiple entry component of the short-term business visa for holders of eligible passports, including Australia.
The Chief Migration Officer then took the opportunity to announce the department's aspirations in introducing a sponsor portal, which will be launched towards the end of this year. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The launching of the first Sago nursery and processing pilot project in PNG took place yesterday afternoon at Moim village in East Sepik province. This project is a first of its kind which will help the locals in mitigating climate change and food security issues.
The Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, has three main priority areas. One being the management of natural resources, as explained by the FAO PNG Head of Office, Mr. Bir Mandal, during the launching of the Sago Nursery project in Wewak.
FAO's assistance in Papua New Guinea is centered on three main priorities areas: enhancing equitable, productive and sustainable natural resource management through improved capacity to monitor, plan and manage forest and trees and plants sustainably.
Sago being one of the staple food in coastal areas of Papua New Guinea, its sustainability is seen to be vital.
FAO, in collaboration with Tokai National Higher Education Research System at Nagoya University of Japan, had been pursuing to commercialize sago research starts for the consumption by wider consumer nationally and globally.
Dr. Keith Galgal further elaborates on the importance of sago.
So the project here in East Sepik, we're managing a project to enhance the food security and combat climate change through upscaling of sago palm. Sago is mainly done traditionally. The technique of making sago has been passed on from our ancestors from generation to generations, and it is consumed. Now the consumption of sago is now increasing.
The Sago project in East Sepik is a pilot project with the aim of developing new methods of cultivation and management of sago and downstream processing. Research has been done, and the Sago Nursery and Processing Project at Moim Village is the pilot project. Dr. Galgal highlighted an issue that arises the need for cultivation of sago.
When sago palm is ready, it produces the fluorescence, the flower heads. That shows that starch accumulation is now ready in the trunk of the sago palm. Then you can cut and you can make enough sago, extract enough starch. But nowadays, people are cutting down sago very young, and there's not much starch accumulated in the sago trunk. So the harvesting and processing, the yield is very low, which means that we must address this issue. We must address this food security issue, and that we must now plant sago for tomorrow.
The message FAO is driving is plant sago today for tomorrow. Florence John Duo, National EMTV News.
A very informative workshop was chaired last night by the Media Development Initiative team in collaboration with Equal Playing Field and other key stakeholders, including the media. During the workshop, the issue of cultivating programs to develop and raise PNG men was discussed by two panelists.
Alicia Sion, the program officer from Equal Playing Field, shared that her organization's contribution towards addressing this issue is through the usage of sports to drive positive outcome.
My name is Michael. I always wanted to be a change agent in my community, in my school, but I never had the courage to do so as I took part in the...
Sion says the ideology of utilizing sports to drive positive outcome then gave rise to their school program, to which they focused on developing adolescents, especially boys, on and off the field.
And what we notice is that boys are mostly focused on the skills, running fast, making plays, and scoring tries. That's basically what the boys want to do when we start saying, like, we're going to play rugby tag. But what the Respect Bonus Points scorecard does is it focuses mainly on positive behavior. So looking at encouraging one another, listening to the ref, and being non-abusive on and off the field.
The next panelist was the Chief Executive Officer of Attitude Plus, Ganjiki Wayne, who emphasized on how important it is to cultivate development programs for men.
And I will speak at whatever audience I have, and whoever gives me an ear to listen, I will speak.
He says one of the champion programs that came about during the Janeline Kennedy death in 2020 was the MENA program, which was an initiative purely driven by men to rally men for the benefit of women.
The great thing about the PNG MENA program is that it was driven by men, and it was a program to rally men, but it was for women. Know what I mean? It was for the benefit of women. If men came up, rose together.
Wayne believes that if men stood up and took necessary steps to address domestic violence, the result will be much more favorable, as men hold influential roles in our society, be it social, cultural, and even political.
The influential figures in society, there are more men, politicians obviously, more men, bureaucrats, more male leaders in community and society at every level. All right? So men seem to be
The National Fisheries Authority has partnered with the University of Technology in Sydney to conduct a socio-economic indicator framework survey, which is aimed at collecting valuable information on tuna fishing. They have already visited Lae and Medang and are currently in Wewak.
This socio-economic indicator survey is aimed at assessing sustainable development in tuna fishing and processing. It is covering small-scale informal activities as well as commercial-scale companies involved in the tuna fishing and processing for the economic sector.
I think the whole concept came from the Pacific Islands Forum Fisheries Agency, and they decided to take a closer look at the tuna industry throughout the region, and realizing that they really need to have a good regulatory mechanism in place, its governance.
The University of Technology in Sydney came up with the tools of data collection as well as analysis and has teamed up with PNG NFA to carry out this survey. Tuna is a prime resource in the Pacific region and it needs to be managed well. This, however, cannot happen without having proper data in place.
One of the issues, because it's such a hot product in the international market, the value of tuna in the international market is huge, which is another story altogether. And because of that, and the Foreign Fisheries Agency realizing that they probably do not have a full control in terms of managing the resource and regulating it to the point where the communities and the states can be able to benefit to its maximum level. So I think they came up with this idea to generate data first to understand it. Until we have a clear picture, it will be difficult to regulate and govern. So that is the basis of collecting this data.
Dr. De Gimrina pointed out that in order for Pacific countries to have control over illegal, unreported and unregulated tuna fishing, surveys like this are vital for the tuna industry. The main focus areas of the survey project are the main ports of Lae, Medang, Wewak and Rabaul. The survey is expected to be completed by the end of the year. Florence Jonduo, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with more stories. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Food and Agriculture Organization PNG Agribusiness Advisor Dr. Keith Galgal highlighted the need for mechanical processing of sago during the launching of the Sago Nursery and Processing Pilot Project in Wewak yesterday.
The traditional method of sago making takes days. The Food and Agriculture Organization has been working with Japanese scientists from Nagoya University in Japan to come up with mechanical processing of sago as well as improved methods of cultivation.
We need to move away from that and improve sago processing method and cut down on the time that our mothers and our fathers in the village are spending time making sago. They need to spend some time in doing other economic activities rather than spending too much time on making sago. So you need to cut down on the time by introducing new methods and new technologies.
Dr. Galgal placed emphasis on the importance of mechanical processing of sago and how this will greatly benefit the people.
For example, mechanical processing of sago rasping. So you cut down, you can process one sago trunk very quickly rather than spending 2-3 days of scraping, pounding, and so you need to mechanically to process one trunk in 1 day or in half a day or in 1-2 hours so that you extract. And also when you extract it, you will also make sure that you get enough, you have recovery rate is good, that you make enough starch. Traditionally, when they don't do the pounding properly or rasping properly, the starch is locked in the fiber of the sago pit. If you do not break the fiber into smaller pieces to release the starch, then the starch is still locked in the fiber. For that reason, you're making about 60-70% sago starch from one where you should be having maybe 80-90% extraction rate. So you have enough. You spend less time to make more sago. So that's the reason why FAO is involved in this project with a community here in Wewak and out in east coast of Wewak called Moem Village since 2020, and our partner from Japan, we're doing research in cultivating sago, germinating sago seeds, producing sago seedlings in the nursery, and increase production, growing, so you get more seedlings raised and you plant more areas quickly. And we're also introducing a new method of sago processing. We've got a machine, sago rasping machine, that's specifically made for us from Indonesia through our partners, and it came all the way from Indonesia, and we have it here and we work.
On the day of launching, the locals from Moem were given a demonstration on how this machine works. Florence John Duo, National EMTV News.
Governor for East New Britain Province, Michael Marum, officially notified the people of East New Britain Province through the media that the one-day visit of the Fijian Prime Minister, Sitiveni Rabuka, has been cancelled.
Governor Marum spoke during a media conference yesterday, thanking the people of East New Britain Province for their efforts.
But from us, the small team that we set up, thank you. No efforts from me, including the Kokopo district administration to the member. No, go past. We are prepared for this ambiguous visit. Out at the three sites, Bidapaka, Tungna Parao, Kapakada preparations. Thank you, Loline. We appreciate all the efforts you put in over the last 2 days.
Sharing the same sentiment was Deputy Provincial Administrator Corporate Services and Chairman of East New Britain Provincial Events Committee, Marakan Uvano, who said that though it was on short notice, East New Britain Province did really well in preparations over the 4 days upon receiving the message of the Fijian Prime Minister's visit to the province.
That's where the province is up there. Yumi model province, but it's based on this obstacle. Now Yumi Harimoli cancel walkabout, but we were prepared. This is an unplanned program, but we were prepared. Not only this, but also in the past.
It is understood that the main reason as to why this significant visit was cancelled was that Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka had to be given permission by the chiefs in Fiji before paying a visit to East New Britain Province. Natasha Ovoy, National EMTV News.
Moving to overseas news now, and 2 people have been killed in a caravan fire in Brisbane, Australia.
I'm here at Upper Brookfield in Brisbane's western outskirts, where 2 people have lost their lives in a fire. Around 4:30 a.m, emergency services were called to Galvin Road, where just up the driveway behind me, they found a caravan fully alight. Multiple fire crews worked to extinguish the blaze, but the caravan was completely destroyed and the roof caved in. Inside, they found the bodies of a man and a woman. Now, police believe they may have been here attending the Brookfield show and don't know how old they are yet. Another man was treated for minor burns to his hands and he was transported to hospital in a stable condition. Fire investigators are on site working to determine the cause of the blaze and whether it was suspicious.
Still in Australia, police are investigating 3 teenagers in relation to a stabbing altercation between 2 school groups in Melbourne's west this week.
16-year-old Parsom Lee Him died in the incident and 2 other teenagers were injured. A 17-year-old from Caroline Springs is in custody and police have asked 2 others to turn themselves in. The 16-year-old's loved ones have paid tribute.
He was a fun, happy guy, you know. He would joke around a lot in class, always get in trouble. He was, you know, he was just joyful all the time.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sport. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The National Capital District Volleyball Association, under the leadership of its president, Wali Ira, the association is taking one step ahead in its development initiative, the Pikinini Volleyball Program, to better engage with children at an earlier stage. Today saw President Ira presenting 216 jerseys to its Pikinini volleyball participants at the Tarama Aquatic and Indoor Center.
As part of giving back to the community and empowering future volleyballers to live their dreams at a young age, the Pikinini Volleyball Program is an initiative that the NCD Volleyball Association President Wali Irau is currently focusing at tapping into. Today, President Irau presented a total of 216 jerseys to its Pikinini volleyball participants, which will be divided amongst the 9 clubs in 2 divisions under the program.
Each club will get 24 uniforms. So those 2 divisions, there's 12 players in each division. So 2 divisions, that will be 24 players. So 24 children in 2 divisions. So they will come in a colors. So if we have 9 clubs and 1 club have 24 and times it to 9, that's about 216 children will be participating in this competition.
According to Irau, the program rollout will be in a mixed contest nature where one team will field 12 players consisting of 6 boys and 6 girls. Irau says the following weekend will see the children dressed in their club jerseys to officially kickstart the program. The official launching of the program will take place next Saturday, the 27th of May, at the Tarama Aquatic and Indoor Center. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Meanwhile, the National Capital District Volleyball Association is into week 6 of its competition as of today. Vice President of the competition, Graham Numa, says the team that is currently on par is the Scorpions, who are dominating 3 divisions as of week 5.
Vice President of the NCD Volleyball Association, Graham Numa, highlighted on the performances of the clubs and mentioned that the Scorpions are currently leading in the men's Premier, men's A grade and the women's Premier divisions.
A position leading up towards now. We have also current train-on squad AMOA players who have been included into each individual clubs, and it's been showing so much competition in each division. Some of our current train-on players are playing in the A-grade division, and most are playing in the Premier division.
Numa further added that this season should be competitive as some of the selected players that will be competing in the November Pacific Games are currently in some of the teams.
On our current ladder, Scorpion is leading in 3 divisions: the men's Premier, men's A grade, and women's A grade. Women's Premier. In the women's A grade, the Juku club is leading the competition right now.
Today saw the teams vying in their respective divisions as the competition plunged into its Week 6 playoffs. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. In overseas sports, Parramatta has trashed South Sydney by 20 points in Sydney, while the Dragons defeated the Roosters 24 points to 22 in the NRL's Indigenous round last night.
Mitch Moses, Dylan Brown and Bailey Simonson starred against the heavyweights. Moses set up 4 of Parramatta's 6 tries, while Simonson scored a double as the Eels scored a 36-16 victory. The result ends the Bunnies' 6-game winning run and sees Penrith reclaim top spot on the ladder. It's South Sydney's first loss in almost 2 months. The Dragons sacked coach Anthony Griffin on Tuesday and responded by winning their third game of the season thanks to a last-minute try from Matthew Feeney on the last play. Roosters forward Victor Radley faces up to 4 weeks on the sidelines after he was charged with a Grade 1 striking offence. It's a third straight loss for the Roosters.
Port Adelaide has jumped to second place on the AFL ladder with a stunning 4-point win over Melbourne.
Port, known by its Indigenous name Yadabulti for the Sir Doug Nicholls round, trailed Melbourne's Nam by 17 points in the third quarter, but fought back to win 11 goals, 14-80 to 11-10-76. Zach Butters kicked 2 goals and gathered 41 disposals. Power trailed in the dying minutes, but Connor Rosie snapped the winning goal to make it 7 straight wins. Port also takes second spot on the ladder from the D's ahead of the weekend games.
And to Super Rugby, the Queensland Reds have fallen to a 19-point defeat to the Blues at Brisbane last night.
The Reds trailed by just 3 points at half-time, but the Auckland-based side kicked away in the second half to record a 45 points to 26 victory. The win puts the Blues in the top 4. The loss keeps Queensland in 7th, although wins from the Western Force and Fijian Drua could drop the Reds out of the 8.
That ends True Kai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
True Kai Sports. True Kai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region: Port Moresby City, partly cloudy with possible brief showers. Daru and Popondetta, cloudy periods with few showers. Kerema, few showers. And Alotau, partly cloudy with possible brief showers. In Momase region, Lay City, cloudy periods with few showers and possible thunderstorms. Medang, Wewak and Vanimo, some showers and thunderstorms. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, showers and thunderstorms. Kaveng, some showers and thunderstorms. Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe, some showers and possible thunderstorms. Buka, few showers and possible thunderstorms. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen City, Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy with some showers and possible thunderstorms. Gurkha and Kundiawa, cloudy periods with few showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Saturday, the 20th of May, 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.